little bit more to bring clarity, so that we are just like any other ministry with the people who come from various parts of the country, so that they can be seen as truly pioneering the respect for diversity and building a nation. Certainly, some of the ministries, like my own, are technical ministries. So you find that, if you are not somebody who is connected with the earth sciences in terms of geology, geophysics, geochemics, or whatever, I will find it very difficult to employ you. Because currently, those jobs, when you go outside the country, you are highly paid. And you can imagine here in South Sudan, a geologist at the top level might be getting something like about 8,000 pounds. That's a spirit. Now, that translates to about what? 8,000 by 4, maybe about $20. $20 or something like that. Now, then you compare, if this person were to go outside, would be receiving anywhere up to $6,000, $8,000. So most of the people in my ministry, they have flown away, okay? And so the ministry has been reducing its work and so forth and so on. However, if you have those qualifications, I think most of the ministries will employ you. And the budget of 2020-2021 has not been approved, and we have it very difficult to now see what openings are there so that we can employ some of you. Now, the other alternative is, in terms of jobs, not all can be government jobs. What we'll have to do is to make sure that our urging government is to ensure that the private sector is empowered. And this is where our young people should also look into, because they have very fantastic ideas. Remember, the fellow who founded Microsoft was a student, and today he's one of the most rich persons on earth. So instead of putting all your ideas into being employed by government, look into it that can you be empowered so that you go into the private business? This is very important. And that is one way of how we can address unemployment, especially among the youth. Some have talked of trading. Indeed, this trading transcends so many boundaries. There is trading that you should have escorting cadres. And that can only happen when our structures are in position. And how we also can be in relations with other parties, not necessarily within the country, but outside the country, so that we can have an understanding, select young cadres to go and acquire skills so that they can come and indeed run the party. Because you, as the Student League, you are also part of the Youth League. Indeed, the future of this country depends on you. And hence you have to work very hard to make sure that you indeed participate and lead this country forward. According to our vision, according to the goals we want to achieve, you indeed will carry the baton. yes, once we have established our structure, we'll have to expand. We have to expand from Juba to the states, to the counties and municipalities, and below those levels of administration. Why do we have to do this? You will not capture power by concentrating here in Juba. I think this was stated very clearly by my eminent brothers here. The intention of a party is to capture power, period. And how do you do that? Once it is founded, we have to take it to the lower levels of administration and to the grassroots. If we don't win the grassroots, you will not pass elections and you will not capture government. So it is very important, paramountly important, that we reach to the grassroots. And who will this be? Who will be reaching the grassroots? There you go. You know, it is the youth, it is the students, it is the Women League, it is the Veterans League, it is, I think many those 4 leagues under the leadership and guidance of the party. So that being a huge challenge, we have to meet it by establishing the party structures as soon as possible. And that's why even registering of the party is paramount, because that will allow us now to go openly. That, you know, we are a registered party. Even currently it is de facto recognition, is because we are part of the agreement. But as a party, to be recognized, we have to register it. And that's why I think we'll have to be thinking about what are we going to be called? Should we continue with the name and so forth and so on? But that is a debate that will come in a later time. I think there was an issue that was asked of security. I'm not going to go deep into security because currently we are trying to implement it. But there is one fundamental issue about security arrangements, in that if not fully implemented, will still be grasping with something that is so difficult to really take hold of. Just imagine, if we don't get the proper security arrangements in terms of policing, and then you find that the police only come from one party, and then elections are to take place. This police, we want them to be from the signatory parties who have forces and have undergone training and have been unified. But if the police were to belong to a party that is there, and it is only they who are to go and oversee elections, there is likely to be rigging. And so, how are you going to capture power if elections are rigged by another party?
I don't think we can reach to election if there is no unified force.
So we have to make sure that, you know, the security arrangements are in place so that there is fairness and transparency when we finally go and choose the party to lead its nation to prosperity. And that party, in my belief, from the depth of my heart is IO. So how do we move forward with all these challenges? The way to move forward with all these challenges is, first of all, to establish the party structures. And that, I think, we in the political bureau will have to sit down and make sure that we have a timeline, a framework whereby we say by this date we should have the office. By this date we should begin this. When we first came in 2015, every day, every week, on Thursday, the leadership, the political bureau, and those serving as ministers met every week to decide on the agenda of the Council of Ministers the next Friday, and also discuss what was approved or the resolution of the previous Council of Ministers meeting. But since we came to Juba, we have not done this. And indeed, we cannot continue to run like this. We cannot continue to run like this. So it is very important, all the political bureau members, myself as deputy and the Secretary General will have to really hit hard so that we can leave. Otherwise, what would be the difference between us and the party that we left? Because some of the problems that arose was the last party that, the party that we left was basically not functioning at the leadership level. No political bureau meetings allowed, and it deteriorated until problems in the whole country. So we should not emulate that. We should not follow that. And that's why it is very important for us to establish the structures, starting with the functioning of the political bureau. And then we look into raising finances. 2015 to 2016, we had, good wishes who, helped the party because they were expecting this and expecting that. But since then, all these, private donors cease to help us. So we have to find ways of how we can raise funds. And then implement, our constitution, I think is a good constitution. And it's preceded by our vision, which is in the first document. And that document basically gives us what is their party, where do we want to go, and what is that goal we want to reach. That is all captured. And so I think it is very important that we use those structures to basically make sure that our party shall emerge triumphant when elections happen. And so, in conclusion, I would like to say the Students League, with their youth, their strength, their brains that are still to absorb, brains that will analyze, brains that will reach a conclusion to guide this country, rest on you. And you will be aided by your colleagues, either in the Women's League, either in the Students' League, either in the Veterans' League. You will be vested with all the powers to correct even the structures of the movement, so that when we eventually capture power, it will rest in your hands because, as my brothers have said, we have only a little time left. And so the baton pass to you. Make sure you run very fast and rescue this country. You know, I would like to avail you a little bit about myself. When I completed university in 1982, you know, we felt like we were like Hercules. You can carry the whole world on your shoulder. But that was just youth giving that strength. So even before, you know, we graduated, we were already members of the Students Association, and unfortunately we did not have a student league by then. And we were just people who have followed the Anyanya, and eventually by 79 we formed a movement. You know, we were very young, 22, 24 and stuff like that. Movement for the total liberation of South Sudan. And by 1983 February, we were arrested because we were the leaders of that movement. And we ended up with Juba, you know, in Juba. But on Good Friday, the Christian Good Friday of 1983, we jumped to the wall, 3 of us. And in 2 days, we walked from here to the borders of Congo. And that is how we became parts of the rebellion, because 1 month later, on the 16th of May, the soldiers in Bor mutinied. And eventually, when Garang became the leader, those of us who are very young, who did not have experience, who did not have the resources, said, let's lead ours. And we joined the movement. But we could not join in Ethiopia because we were the refugee camp. And they said, you refugees, no, we cannot transport you to the rebels. So we ended up, some of us, in diaspora. I ended in Canada. I continued with my schooling. I kept coming to my home area. And when 2005 came, they said, Henry, come and lead us. I left my job. I did not run from the diaspora to come and get a job here. Because there I was earning almost $10,000 a month. And so to come and earn about 1,000 something here in Juba was self-sacrifice. I left a young family. Okay, my little girl was only about 3 months. So when people say that, oh, these people are running to Juba because they want to go and loot, because they want to go and do this. No. Those among us here in IO, especially those who are in very, very high position, they also sacrifice to be part of this revolution, to bring this country to a direction that is good for all South Sudanese. So indeed, I appreciate my brothers, the eminent persons that I mentioned. I appreciate all of you who came from that diaspora life I went through. I appreciate all of you who have suffered within this movement, because you could be doing something elsewhere and making sure that your families survive. But you came here because your family is the South Sudanese. The South Sudanese from all over this country. Not because of your relatives, not because of the tribe that you come from. This is of that. And that is what the manifesto of our movement says. With this, I wish to say that the launching of today's institution within the Party of Students League is blessed, and that we in the leadership will do our best to make sure that it is successful. Finally, there are members who would like to be part of us, and this is how we grow. If each one of us here, I don't know, we don't take any attendance, but I believe that we have about maybe 50 or so. And imagine if each one of you were to bring about 10 members into this, and then those who were to bring another 10 members, and you extend it up to the grassroots. Hey, that will be truly VIVA, long live IO. VIVA IO! VIVA! Now, there are people who are going to join us, mainly from Warrap. Chair, yes. And if there are other issues that one wants to raise, the chairman of the Student League is here. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Don't come.
Okay, comrade, once you hear your name, please come in front here so everybody can see you. So I would like to start with Comrade John Redcock.
SPLM IO!
Viva!
SPLM IO!
Viva! Comrade Makerba. Comrade Ajang Malwalkom. Is not here. Ilya Mawian Arik. Comrade Moses Mark. By the way, Moses Mas has been with us since 2016, but we never had a forum like this so that he can interact with the members of the movement. Comrade Mayom Natok. Comrade Chaguor Ater Bol. Comrade Martin Magul Lual. Comrade Majak Malin Majak. Comrade Samuel Makur Tingjok. Comrade Joseph Majid Chol. Comrade Dal Amok. Comrade Machar Gol. Comrade Daniel Pon Mayik. Comrade William Mawan. And finally, Comrade Munchung Mobior. Comrade Daniel Day, sorry, I forgot your name. Daniel Bol. These are the members that have joined us. Some joined us in early November 2019, especially Jang Malwalkom. He lived in Gera. He's a brave guy, and he declared on social media while he lived in Gera. You know where Gera is.
Okay.